What is up YouTube? Joe here from Zephyr Digimon, and I'm bringing to you guys a spicy deck profile for Galaxy Toolbox. This is a profile that I came up with as I just came up with one day. I thought, oh, this engine can work with this said card, and then as I was putting this together, I thought, oh, because of that you can mix around with this card and this card, and so on and on, and I just thought I had to put this profile together and share it with you guys. Just a very fun concept that you can utilize with the Galaxy Toolbox engine, and the cards that it has, and just the general strategy and the mechanic that the Galaxy Toolbox is naturally has at its disposal. So, but before I get into the profile, if you enjoy, give us a like and subscribe down below. Ding that notification bell, because if you enjoy a person's content here on YouTube, you don't want to miss out on their content, and that notification bell helps prevent that. All of the support is greatly appreciated, and thank you guys all so much for doing so. So with all that said and done, let's get into the deck profile. So the Galaxy Toolbox engine is, for the most part, the low stage, pretty self-explanatory, though some of the ratios that I am using are different to most lists, as you'll see the reasoning why later. So we're starting with obviously the 4 Sun ones. This is if you gain an evolution source, you can evolve into a Digimon 4 cost of -1. Perfect for the strategy that Galaxy has. So we're going also with the rookies for Lunamon and for Coronamon, both from EX5. These are the self-explanatory standard for your deck, as they have that very important inherent of taking the top card, putting it to the bottom, and then you gain 2 memory. Lanamon is in your main phase. You can bounce one Digimon to your hand to gain 2 memory, and Coronamon's at start main. If you have a tamer, gain 1 memory. We then move on to the last of the rookies. We're playing 3 copies of the BT22 Lunamon. This is your in-archetype searcher of looking at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you can add 1 Digimon with a Night Fang or Light Claw trait. You can add 1 Digimon card with a Night Claw trait, and 1 card with Light Fang or Galaxy trait, put the rest at the bottom. It has a similar inherent to the others, where you can take the top card, put it to the bottom, and instead of gaining 2 memory, you just draw 1 instead. We're only playing 3 of it because, in honesty, you don't, with how consistent that the Galaxy engine naturally is, having a lower rookie count to most decks is kind of fine. You need to have space for the other cards in your deck. You need to have a higher champion count to do your regression plays. So we have to reduce a little bit on the rookies, but 11 rookies is perfectly fine for most lists. For the champions, playing 4 copies of the Galgamon from BT16. This is when if you evolve, both players draw 1 card, and if either your opponent has 8 cards or more in their hand, or you have 3 evolution cards, you gain additional memory. The inherent is jamming. We're playing 4 of that. This is the only mono blue card in the champion line that we're playing, because we're playing 4 copies of Firemon from EX5. This is your in-archetype one of your in-archetype searches for on-play and Digivolving. You can look at top 3 cards of your deck, and you add a card with Light Claw and 1 other card with a Night Fang or Galaxy trait. The inherent is your turn plus 2000. And then we're playing 4 copies of the BT22 Lekismon. The reasoning for this is that not only does it play your tamers, if this Digimon stack has 2 or more of the same level, you can play a tamer card with Night Fang or Light Claw trait from your hand. This can't play a duplicate tamer that you have already on the board. And the reason we're playing these 2 is that they are of the colors red and purple, and they're very important colors, as we'll see into one of our tech choices in the ultimate lineup. Moving into the ultimate lineup, we're playing 4 copies of the best level 5 in the archetype, which is Crestmon. In my opinion, this card just saves my bums so many times. It has a when Digivolving and on play effect. Until the end of your opponent's turn, one of the Digimon can't suspend. This really can get you out of sticky situations if you're in a tight spot. The inherent is plus 2000 on your opponent's turn, but it has a condition when it is either evolving or being played. If you have a Digimon with 3 or more Digivolution cards and the Night Fang Light Claw trait or Galaxy trait, you can reduce its cost by 2. So it can either be a 5 cost hard play or a 1-cost Evo, which is very, very important. We are playing her brother, which is brother-in-arms, which is Flareon. Same on-play and Evo condition, but it has an on-play when Digivolving to pop if something is 5,000 less and a your turn plus 2,000 inherent. We're playing 5 copies of these, and the only other ultimate that we're playing is my first spicy tech, which is kind of like what got me down this rabbit hole to begin with. 3 copies of my boy Regulusmon from EX10. So what is cool with the combination of Regulusmon with the Galaxy engine is that other than to tuck a source, nothing on Regulusmon requires it to have Gammamon in text. So you will get that on-play when Digivolving to technically try and tuck 5 differently named up to 5 differently named Gammamon cards, but then it has a full stop, which means that to use its next effect, because it doesn't say a by doing something, you don't actually need to meet that requirement. So it will always attempt to just pop something with equal or less DP than himself, which is fantastic because with the Firemon and the Flaremon, we can get into at least 12,000, 14,000 sometimes pretty easily. But even then, it's still a 10k pop for essentially for free in this deck is very, very nice. And that's something to laugh at. But what's the main point is that it's end of your turn effect is that if it has 5 or more Digivolution cards, it can attack without suspending. And they don't have to be Gamma text. So you can, in terms of your regression combos, a simple standard Galaxy regression combo will give you 5 evolution cards if you're coming out from raising. And the fact that you can use your Tamer to evolve into Regulus for free, which is absolutely bonkers, and why a lot of people still think that Tamer needs to get banned, means that we can just comfortably get into this guy for free, pop something, swing, do something else, end of turn, just swing again. You can just do so much with this card, and you can give this guy essentially reboot, which means that you can on later turns swing, do a check, maybe with jamming, end of turn, swing again, and then end of turn after that restand, which is absolutely hilarious. Or you can just do the restand first and then swing without suspending anyway. So you get a nice big juicy blocker on your turn, on your opponent's turn. Like, you can just abuse Regulusmon quite effectively within Galaxy, and it's something that I really wanted to put in the deck. And we can make use of that rush that he has, which you'll see a bit later. Moving into the Megas now, we're playing 4 copies of Dianamon from BT22. This is your main in-archetype Mega. The reasoning you're focusing on this is that not only is it a control piece after you're being a little bit of aggression with the Regulus, but the fact that it can evolve on Regulus for 4. I really like that this has a dual color condition of blue and purple. It has Ice Cloud blockers, so after you've done like some cheeky checks, a cheeky check with Regulus or whatever, you can just go into this. If you haven't used the regression piece yet, you can like do cheeky check with Regulus, go into this, stun something, do the regression. Now you're back into being a Regulus again, and you can do end of turn restand with the Dianamon and then swing with the Regulus. So you can just do some really nice combos in combination with these two, and like your rookie inherents and your Tamer mains. That I don't think that a lot of people have either not thought of or just haven't given it a build together and give it a go. So playing 4 copies of Dianamon, you need it for the CS, for not only the Galaxy trait, Galaxy traits, but also the CS trait, which is for another tech in a minute. Your other standard kind of like Galaxy tech card is Hexablamon. We do have still 4 blue ultimates that we can utilize to go into Hexablamon if we need to. So if we're ever in a spot where Regulus isn't required and Hex is needed for maybe like an early play, we can go into use the quest, go into regular, go to Hex, stun your opponent's Digimon, strip sources, and you know, get rid of a potential early tamer. The other part of the engine to round up the Digimon is 1 copy of Metal Gurumon from 22 and 2 Omnimon. And I might as well put it out here. We have 1 copy of Amy Iber as well. So that the fact that the Dianamon is a CS trait, when doing on a later turn a regression play from a Diana, you can go use, let's say, one of your current Sios that we have to take your stack with Diana, plonk it underneath with the current Sio, go into either another Diana or with the tech Metal Garurumon. After resolving their Digivolution effects, you can then tap an Amy Iber and go into a Omnimon. And then you can just remove all your opponent's Digimon. You can do a check with Omnimon, maybe with jamming if you need to. Use the Metal Garurumon if you put it in the stack to restand. Check once more time. End the turn, you can use the Diana to restand again, and now you have a blocker. You can do a lot of cheeky things with a little bit of CS additions within your standard Galaxy list that I haven't seen either a lot of people build or a lot of people even talk about. The reason I go for Metal Garurumon over something like Wargreymon, it's just I like the restanding and the bouncing that it can do as opposed to the deletion and trashing. I think being able to, like, if you really need to, like, say you don't have a Dianamon in your stack, you can still just go swing with Omnimon, do a check and restand, and then that way you're always guaranteed to have a restand if you need it. So that's why I've gone for that. Omnimon's really cool as well because it has the pseudo partition with the decodes. You can still get back your Lunamon and Coronamons if you need to, and you can start your new stacks going off from there. What I like with the Garurumon and the Wargreymons as well, if you want to pick the Wargreymon, is that they can both also evolve on Regulusmon, so you got that bit of synergy there as well. If you go with Wargreymon, you'll also get an extra free memory off the inherent from Regulus, which is really cool. But you're also going to get that free memory off the Omnimon if you do that combo as well, which is very, very nice. To round up the tamers, we're just playing one copy of Sio from BT22. It's just a nice card. You can go into your Dynamons from the trash if needed. It's just another form of additional free memory. And what I like about, and what's important with these two, is that they're giving you one additional memory for free, which we'll get to in the last tech at the end of the profile. For the options, we're gaming with 3 copies of Wisteria Members, such as everything within our deck, as everything is either blue or red, which is fantastic. 1 copy of Blue Scramble. It can't use this to go into Regulus, obviously. But funny thing is you can use it to go into Omnimon if you want to. But its main importance is to go into either your Dynamons or into your champions. Here you're not getting the reduction of the champion, but you're setting up a Blue Scramble for if you are starting to deck out, you need to do a comeback play. With the delay, you got the Scramble there to do so. Now I picked for this over Red Scramble because I'm not using it to go into Regulus. I'm using this current Sio to go into Regulus. But the last tech card in the deck, the tech of all techs, for blue deck is Kaisernail. I love this card from the very first Blue Star tech. So what I like with these tamers in combination with this is that with these and this, you're setting yourself to 4 memory. So if you have a Crestmon, a Dianamon stacked with a Regulus, you can do a check with Diana. And then for just 4 memory, spit out the Regulusmon, get a free pop off the Regulus through the on-play, and there he has Rush. So he just naturally has Rush. So with the 4 memory of Kaisernail, you can go into the Regulus, back out from the Diana, do another free check with Regulusmon. So we've done 2 checks with that. And then you can do your regression play with the Diana if you need to. And then maybe you can set up into a Omnimon for another future turn, for another future play if your stack and sources and resources are up to that. But being able to just spit out a free 10k body that has Rush for just 4 memory is absolutely something I had to keep and put in the deck. Considering I'm already taking it out as it is, why not go that little bit beyond? But that, guys, is my Spicy Galaxy deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed it. Leave your comments down below what you think, what you're doing with Galaxy Toolbox. Are you going crazy like I am? Or are you just going with the standard kind of like Galaxy Toolbox, just going with Galaxy Engine with strong blue top ends, things like Maj and things of that nature. Obviously, if you don't need Hexablow, You can go into like a Mirage Gala if you need to as well. I was thinking of putting that into the Hex, but I like the taming removal that Hex can give you in the early game, as opposed to like Mirage, which can just be a little bit of annoying. But if the deck that it's up against doesn't really care, they can just ignore Mirage, whereas like every deck kind of like has a thing against Hexablow. But as always, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. Till next time, as always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.